and welcome to another episode of Copy That. This week I am with my girl Trinity. You see how hard I said the T?
You better emphasize that T.
Trinity.
You know me well.
Trinity is, well, you came out here to act, and you're still acting, but you're also currently a costumer.
That's correct. That will be me.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Today we're just sipping on, we got you some Pinot Noir. And I got sparkling cider because, you know, I'm being dry right now.
Well, then let's cheers to that.
Cheers. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
So, Trinity, how long have you been in LA?
Oh my gosh, this year I am celebrating 16 years, September 30th. So I'm actually calling this my Sweet 16 anniversary. And I actually want to do something for it because that's big in LA. 16 years is a big deal.
This is my 16th year too.
Another cheers.
Another cheers.
Yeah. That's big though, because that's like 4 years from 20 years.
That's crazy. And I didn't even think about it until you were like, I've been here 16 years. I did that math. Yeah, it's been that long, but it doesn't feel that long.
Right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel that long, but the journey is definitely real within those 16 years. So
yeah.
Yours is when?
April 1st.
Oh, it's coming right up. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
I waited too late to have a sweet 16, but I'll celebrate yours.
Yes, because I definitely want to do something for that.
That's
September
fun.
30th, and that's a Saturday. It falls on a Saturday.
You already looked it up?
Yeah, because it was interesting. 16 years ago, I moved here on a Sunday.
Okay, yeah. I don't even remember what day it was. I know, like, I got in the plane March 31st, and I landed April 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that day like yesterday.
Yeah. How'd you feel? How was it for you, like, moving out here? What did you feel?
You know, for me, at that time, I was, like, in my early 20s. I really didn't know anyone. Coming from Detroit, moving to LA was such a big city for me. Like, I really stepped out on faith. And I share this story now, 16 years later, because I actually moved here with $500 in my bank account.
Oh, my gosh.
This today, Trinity, you can't get me to move somewhere like that. But, you know, it just shows, like, how I was dedicated. I trusted God. I took a leap of faith. And I remember the moment I landed, I went to Burbank, California.
Okay.
And I was just, like, I laid across the bed, and I was like, wow, I'm really here in California. Like, this is different. I never even saw myself moving to California because I used to think I would move to New York.
Me too, girl.
I really thought I was going to New York after high school.
But
But God said, no, we're going to go out west and you're going to pursue these dreams. So
wow.
I remember that day like yesterday, and I've never even been homesick.
Yeah. Well, I think I miss my family. But, like, yeah, you can't get me to move back to North Carolina.
You can't get me to go back to Detroit.
But, yeah, I definitely miss my family. I think, like, when I first got out here, that's funny you said that you laid across the bed. I just remember, like, going to sleep that night. Like, my friend picked me up, and we went and got Del Taco, which I don't like. I discovered that day I don't like Del Taco. But I remember, like, getting that and then, like, laying on the bed and just being like, you did it.
You like, this is home. I'm here. Ain't no turning back.
I'm here. Like, what did I do? But it was just like.
It was real. And then I think for me, waking up every day was like, it's sunny here every day. Like, come on now. No cloud, no rain. Like, that was just completely new for me.
Right.
So when I look back, I'm proud of the journey. It hasn't always been easy, but I'm thankful for God's grace and his coverings over my life.
Yeah, I know that's real.
And just seeing me through every step of the way.
Yeah, like, so you came out here to act, but I read a little bit about your bio. So I know you've been in your past, like you were prepping for this.
Yes.
Like, so before you moved to LA, like what are some of the things you did like to get ready for this?
So I come from a family of three, right? I have a twin sister and then also I have an older sister. So when I was like 6 years old, I went to my mom and I was like, Mom, I want to be on TV. And she was like, to this day, it's funny, it's comical to me, but she was like, okay, I'm gonna call Bill Cosby. So as a kid, I was just like, oh, great, let's give him a call, you know, because I was watching the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
But needless to say, she never made that call, obviously.
Yeah.
But I always say, I feel like my mom did the best at what she could do with me in Detroit. So from that moment, she would like keep me and my twin sister in performing arts schools.
Okay.
My twin has a background in dancing.
Okay.
I was acting. So we did that. And then after graduating high school, I went to the Detroit Repertoire Theater, which is a big theater back at home. And so I was at Wayne State taking classes there for theater. But I was just like, this just ain't it. Detroit is just not it.
Yeah.
So then when I came out to LA, I started getting into more classes, training myself, because one thing they will always tell you that an actor has to prepare and stay ready.
Yeah.
So fast forward 10 years of living out here, I ended up graduating from New York Film Academy with my bachelor's in acting for film. You know, so that was a lot that helped me prepare, and what I learned there that I can write. That was something I never thought that I would do.
So, and I said this on a previous whatever this is, podcast. Woo, I was like, web series? What am I doing? But I said this previously. I think that like our passions for, like for you is acting for me as well, kind of like open you up to like a different world that you didn't necessarily consider for yourself.
It does.
And like you just keep moving and falling into things that you find out you love just as much.
Right, that you surprise yourself with, you know, and I'm always about creativity. So I like to surround myself around creators because we all can learn, pull, and feed from one another.
Yeah.
So once I learned that about myself going to the New York Film Academy, I was like, okay, I can write this. So I actually ended up writing before pre-pandemic. I ended up writing a pilot.
Oh, wow.
And the pilot is something that it's my baby. I actually wrote the first episode. And it's about 4 girls coming together. One of the characters is me. And I actually did a table read with friends. I'm like, because I want to get some feedback. But the problem that I realized was with me, the character that was focusing on my life, it was like, everybody's like, I want to see more of her. I'm like, I'm going to give you more. So you got to watch for the future episodes when we get there. But, you know, I think that's the challenge for me when it comes to like writing about me. Because I can create, you know, the other characters. But it's like, writing about me is just like the difficult challenge I have right there.
Yeah, because you gotta really be willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm okay with being vulnerable, but it's like I want to lead you up to that.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to read it. How come I haven't read the scripture?
You know, because I didn't really talk about it until I got on copy of that. But there are there are some people that know about it, like that I wrote, helped me write it as well. But it's like now that I'm getting back in that lane of acting, because I've been behind the camera, as you stated, as a costumer, it's like, okay, I want to get back into opening it up because it's my baby. And it's like, it's something I really want to revisit.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about you as a costumer, because I know when you started in the costuming, you were a PA, you worked yourself up, you're in a union, you got them benefits.
Oh, thank God for the benefits.
When I say, like, I always say, like, union benefits are great. We have great benefits being up in here, and it's a blessing. Yeah.
As soon as those benefits kicked in, I was on the phone making all those appointments.
And what people at home might not understand is that in the industry, there's like a guild for like skilled and trained professions. You'll hear about the Writers Guild, you'll hear about the Actors Guild, and the Directors Guild. And that's like, you know, for protections of people that work in that industry. But there are so many, as you discover, like other professions within this industry, and being like coordinators or supervisors. That's one group that I'm in, but there's costumers, there's prop masters, there's construction, there's lighting, there's cinematography, there's all these guilds.
Sound, everybody.
Right, sound, all these groups, and they also provide you with, because once you, I guess, get to a certain level of mastery and a certain skill set, a certain days on set, you have to pay your membership into a dues if you work on union shows, but that also provides you with health benefits and a pension plan, which is like an amazing thing for creators.
Yes.
So, and it's actually really decent health plan. So we get excited about that.
Yes. I remember the first day I started, day one with my union day, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because each union is different with the process as well.
Yeah. But so all that to say, like, I know your progression into that, but I wondered, and I never asked you, how is being a costumer, like, first of all, what's your experience on set? Like, for people who might not know what being a costumer is, can you just kind of give us a little background on that?
Right. So, and being in the costume world, there's different, right? You have your costume designer, you have the costume supervisor, you have a key costumer, you have your set costumers, you have your shoppers, that's the costumers. So there's all different roles. So my role is I'm a set costumer. So I work on set overseeing the actors and making sure that I'm bringing the visual of what the costume designer wants to see. Also keeping up with continuity, because it's like so many changes. A lot of people don't realize that. I'm always telling people, like, we're not just dressing people. Like, it's a lot that goes into that and making sure everything is right. So when I'm on set, I'm constantly like tuned into the monitor. If I'm seeing something that's off with the actor, I'm like, okay, I gotta go in, I gotta go make those adjustments, I gotta fix. And I'm so good at that when it comes to that eye, that I even take that outside of work when I'm like getting ready to take a photo with friends.
You're like, girl.
Yeah, I'm like last night I was just at dinner with one of my other good friends who's also, she works in development management for TV. And as soon as I walked up, I saw her pocket was like hanging. And I just walked up to her, I was like, let me just adjust it. She's like, okay, costumer. So it's just like that, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, y'all. What was the
No, that was
question?
it. Like, what does it
Oh, the
entail?
duties of the entail. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So with that, you said you get to watch actors and things like that. You being an actress yourself, working as a costumer, do you feel like you've learned, I guess, kind of like, have you learned what not to do as an actress, or how to be a better actress on set by getting to observe through the lens of a costumer?
Yes, I have. There's so much that I've observed. Sometimes I am on set, and it's interesting because sometimes when I see things that's like wrong, I'm kind of like, I probably wouldn't have said it like that if that was me, or I would probably gave some more emphasis on that.
Yeah.
So I think that's also like the acting side of me, and also like wanting to see more and more deliverance. Because even when I'm at home watching TV, I'm always like I'm critiquing the acting. I'm critiquing the costume like that they have on. Like, I'm just like, wow, they spent a lot of money for this show. I love the looks and everything. So I'm always like critiquing something.
But you get to interact a lot, right, with the actors?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Being in this field is amazing. I'm always so surprised about who I'm working with, because there's so many people that I grew up and watched on TV.
Yeah.
I think the biggest highlight for me was when I worked with Miss Loretta Devine.
Yes, girl.
And my birthday, 2022 last year. The team got her to sign my birthday card.
Aww.
And I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And it's like little things like that. Like, you could have never told me in many of my birthdays. One day, Loretta Devine would give her blessings on my birthday card.
Yeah, that's
so
really
it's
sweet.
always, it's really sweet. And she's so sweet.
Yeah.
She's like the auntie.
Yeah.
The great auntie.
She's done everything.
I mean,
she's amazing.
Everything. Like, I mean, just being in her presence alone is a blessing, you know? And she was always so warming and, welcoming. So I would say, like, just being in this field, I'm always surprised, like, wow, I'm really working with this person.
Right.
And surprisingly, like, the people that I've come across, there have been nothing but just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's been, for the most part, my experience as well. As a, like, I guess, do you see yourself like I want you to continue acting for sure.
Oh, I do.
But
do
you think this has also opened up like any other opportunities or thoughts or things about worlds you didn't know? Like, how do you think getting into costuming has been beneficial to you?
I think because for me, I'm able to see what's going on behind the camera. Like, when I do sitcoms versus like a film for a feature, I notice how constantly like a script can change. Like, there were many days I've been on set, or I walk into work or get up in the morning, check an email, and the script has been revised. And it's like, okay, so this is what happens when you're making magic on TV and film, of just making changes. So I would say seeing that part of how things just constantly can change like that. Also, just seeing the creativity of everything and what it takes to make this production work. Like, I always tell family and friends, like, you may watch something for 30 minutes to an hour and some change, but somewhere there was a crew working 14 to 16 hours to give you what you love to see and what you love to watch.
Right.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love the fact that I can just see what it takes to bring it all together.
That whole process.
Yeah, the whole process.
It really is magic. Like, to watch it all
come together
and to work. I think, like, me being in production management, I get to see it from like the operative way of like all the people we have to hire to make this come together. I think with you getting to work on set more, you have a different perspective on what it's like to see it all come together.
Yes.
And working with the actors, and even on that creative side, like, you work with a costume designer, and the costume designer has his vision, and somebody had to either make it or go shopping for it or whatever it is, to pull it all together for something like you said, people only see for 30 minutes on screen.
Yeah, for only what you're seeing, and just also like what it takes to do these fittings with the cast members and weekly meetings when you're meeting with the producers, because they have the look, but then the costume designer goes and makes what they want, and it just all comes together, and it's like, wow, we did that.
Yeah. What is something that surprised you, or something that you learned on set that surprised you?
I think the one thing that surprised me, I don't know if I need to say this, I'm definitely not gonna drop names.
Okay.
But there was someone that I was working with, and it was just a shocker to me out of everybody I ever worked with, that watching them on TV and their season, but when I was gonna be like the costume to overlook them, it wasn't like a welcoming moment. And I think that was the first part ever in my career where it's something like that just shocked me. Because don't get me wrong, I've met amazing people, but I felt like with me being a woman of color, they wasn't as comfortable. And I think that shocked me.
Yeah, I can
that
see
was
that.
a big shocker, because I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
I grew up
can see
watching
that. Yeah. What advice would you have for somebody like a young Trin who was coming from Detroit to pursue dreams or passion, or like even somebody who might not necessarily want to be an actress, but it's like, I think I want to get into like costumes. That sounds really cool. Like, do you have advice for them? Or?
Yeah, I would say don't give up. Work hard. Have great character, because that's going to go a long way in this business, especially how we work off of each other.
Yeah.
And, you got to love what you do.
Yeah.
Once I crossed over into like not having a 9-to-5 and crossed over into this industry, like I wake up, I love what I do, whether it's in front of the camera or behind the camera, because it's all part of the arts.
Yeah.
And that's something that I enjoy, like I feed off of, and that gives my energy. I don't care how many hours I work, you just got to be ready and stay ready.
Right.
And be consistent.
Yeah. One thing I love about you I feel like on your Instagram stories, you're always having a good time on set. You're at somebody's crafty dancing. Like, you could tell that you really love what you do.
Yeah, and it's really me though. Like that's really me on set and off set. Like recently, I just celebrated my birthday March 5th, and everybody's post that they were posting about me, they were adding Beyonce, we like the party. And I'm like, am I the party girl, or am I just like fun? Because I'm not like really always out partying. But you know, that's really me. Like, and music just really, Twilla, music really does something to my soul.
Yeah.
It's like, it's whether I'm listening to R&B classic or I'm going back to my mom's era generation. Like, it just really does. It feeds me. Like, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it. I love music.
But you bring, in that joy, you bring that spark to something, especially like, it can get stressful on set. So like, how do you deal with those like days where everybody's like high strung and like we're hitting these deadlines and things aren't coming?
So this might sound crazy to you because you already know how our world is, but honestly, I like to protect the peace. And I feel like the type of work and the amount of work we do, we spend the most time together at work, right? Yeah. So I'm always like, everybody, let's just come together. Let's calm down. Let's be peace, be still. We got a job to do in these 14, 16 hours. And at the end of the day, we're dressing people. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, we're going to fix it. We're going to make it work. And let's be a team, because you have to be a team together. I've been in like situations where it's like, the ship feel like it's about to sink, but somebody got to step up, and we got to like do this together. And then like, once that stress is relieved, like the team, everybody come together, like, we did it, y'all. Everybody want to high five. And I'm like, thank God we made it. We were just pulling out each other's hair. Thank God we made it. I saw a meme of, it's like a crew on the crew IG, and it was literally like a sink shipping, and then like one girl on it, like as it was underwater, one girl was just smiling, and it was like, me knowing that I'm currently on a shit show, but I'm loving what I'm doing anyway. Sometimes that does happen, but you like, I got to make the best of what I got right now, you know what I mean? So I would say those moments, but for the most part, I have loved pretty much all the teams that I have worked with. That's awesome. Do you have, would you say, any advice? Well, we talked about advice, but did you feel like along the way, did you receive any like bad advice
about like what to do in this industry or how to get started?
I would say when I first started, it wasn't my cup of tea, like the team that I was under. So I set the tone to say, moving forward, what I will and not tolerate, and I needed that experience from the beginning to help me. So along the way, even with my costume PA days, like designers, my fellow costumers on the team, supervisors, they would be like, "Oh, you would be such a great asset to this union." And they were really pushing. There were times when they were pushing to get me in a union, but then it wasn't happening. So I wouldn't get discouraged. I would just say, you know what, it's not my time. It's not my time. So when my time came, it was just like everybody was giving advice, because it's like steps. Y'all, it's a whole process. Once you in the union, and steps that you got to go through, but once you pay that big lump sum, so you're like, okay, I'm there, so it was like people were guiding me with those steps. So I've really been thankful, like, for the amount of people that's been along the way. Like, I owe it all to my supervisors and my designers.
That's awesome.
I do. I appreciate each and every last one of them.
Yeah. If you weren't, or I feel like since you work mostly as a freelance person going job to job, what is it that you do? Or like, is there any tips about like what to do in the meantime? Like if you're not working, or like how to get your next job?
Well, let's just say right now I'm not working. So every day I'm getting up, I'm going to the gym, get my mindset, keeping my mental state together for that. Every day I'm like sending my texts out like I'm available, let me know. I'm on all these different, like, staff me up, crew me up. Ava, her crew list. Like, I'm on everything. I'm just keeping myself productive, because one thing about me, like, I'm from Detroit, so we got a Detroit hustle in us. And I like to work. To work. I'm a hard worker. And I just cannot be sitting around not doing nothing. Don't get me wrong. We all need a little R&R sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, God, how much time you want me to be on my R&R? You know what I mean? So it's like, I have to be productive.
Yeah. And for you, do you you said you go to the gym, so that's some self-care.
Yeah, I have to.
Is there anything do you practice taking breaks or anything like routinely after a job, or you just hustle?
I just go.
You just go.
I keep going. I think the end of last year, the first break that I probably just took, and I was like, I'm gonna go home for Christmas, because it's like, we shut down for the holiday period. So I was like, you know what, why not? Let me just go home. I hadn't been home for Christmas probably since I left in 2007. That's not to say I haven't visited home.
Right.
I just had been home for Christmas. And it was really refreshing. And there are times, being in LA, I will say this for me, I don't know how it is for you, but there are times living out here in LA, I just need a reset. And when I say reset, meaning I need to be around my family, I need to be around my friends back at home. And once I reset and refresh, I'm like, all right, let's go back to LA, let's do this.
I think that's so big. I definitely, it's something about connecting with family, like, depending on your family dynamic.
That's
but
true.
Like connecting with family and friends in a real way kind of like jumpstarts you. You might not even realize that you needed it, but it helps you like re-energize and be like, all right, I'm ready. Let me go. Come on, let's go, LA. We got this.
Yeah. And that's how I feel. Like, I feel refreshed every time. And it just helps me. And then, like, I'm a water sign, so something about the water, it just does something.
So living in LA is good for you.
Yeah. Like, I would like to go, like, if I'm interested enough to go by the beach, because I'm not really a beach person, but the pool, the water relaxes me. And sometimes I don't need to be around a bunch of people. Sometimes I just like to sit in my home, watch some TV, do my journaling, and just have my me time. And I'm okay with that.
Right.
I'm a people person, but sometimes I just like to just be by myself as well.
No, I feel that, like reading or just disconnecting for a minute and like thinking like, okay, what is it I want to do? And I think in this time that I've been off, it also has had me like refocusing with being in front of the camera, because just as much as friends and family want to see me in front of the camera, I want to see myself in front of the camera. I want to be there too.
She ready. She got a new haircut and everything, like she is ready.
So like, how do you, for people who might, for those who are actors and are currently and consistently pursuing that, do you think that costuming or having a job within the industry as an actress is a good idea, or do you think it takes away from that process?
I don't think it takes away from the process. It's just what you make out of it. Because for me, I'm like, I can do it. I want to do it all. Like, you can't tell me what I'm not going to be able to do and what I'm not capable of doing.
Right.
And even being in the costume world, I was still doing auditions. But a lot of my auditions when I had the agency, it was like self-tape auditions.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I can get home, do this self-tape, and make sure I knock it out and prepare for that. So I don't think so. And then in this industry, you meet so many people. And you're constantly connecting with people.
Right.
Especially when you have a showrunner, you know, you meet with the producers or writers, that they're constantly always on set. So you start to develop relationships with them. And now I'm to a point in my career where I'm more open about letting people know that I act. And when I say that, they're like, really? Oh my God, they're so surprised.
Yeah.
They want to see more. Like, I remember about a year ago, I posted a clip that I had did for somebody's feature film. And like, everybody just went crazy about it. And I was just like, I need to start posting more of my work like this. And then next thing you know, people start hitting me up like, please send me your reel, please send me your headshot. So it's like, okay.
Yeah. And I definitely get the logic about like not necessarily sharing right up front that, because there's this thing, people are like, we're not trying to hire actors.
Exactly.
Or like that.
Yeah,
so there is that trying to like, let me protect my job and just
my
be on
stability.
my hustle. Right.
Because my benefits, I need my medical.
But at the same time, like it is, like you said, you do meet so many people along the way who, like, if you show yourself to be a good person, a great worker, they end up cheering for you. Like, they want to see you do well and they want to see you win.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll be like, let me see your stuff. You know, so it's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying as soon as I walk on the set, I'm like, I'm an actress, like advertising it, you know, but if we're like in conversation, you know, or something like that, because believe it or not, there's some like costume assistant designers that I've talked to as well in our department. They'll tell me like the things that they studied. I'm like, really? Yeah. Or either other costumers will be like, yeah, I studied theater. I'm like, oh, you did?
Right.
Okay, we should put something together. Or some of them are even writers. They like to write.
There's something like I do find like once you talk to people, there's so many people who are like either pursuing creative passions that you don't know about, or there's people who came out here with a particular passion and for whatever reason chose not to pursue it. So it's always interesting to talk to people and get advice for people. I remember one time I was kind of stuck on like what type of job I should take next. I was like, do I want to keep down this path? And it was like a gaffer who was like, don't do it if you're hesitating. Like, don't, if you're not feeling this job, because you don't want to get to be 50 and regret not having said yes to what you really want to do.
Exactly.
And it was just like, you know, like it was, that's why I say talk to everybody, because I was like, this man don't know me like that, but he just gave me like really, really good advice.
And it's probably something you needed to hear.
Exactly what I needed to hear. And I was like, well, I'm not taking that job.
Yeah, exactly. Remember I said earlier, be happy with what you like to do, because you can wake up, especially in this business, 14, that's a long day to not be happy.
Right.
To not be happy enjoying something with the amount of like how everything just moves and constantly change. So it's like, be happy with what you do.
I think, and I have to go back to this because you just said, you said you wake up every day grateful and excited to go to work. That's big. You know how many people hate work and they just like, and I think that's part of the blessing of being able to be a creative and actually making that decision, even though it's hard early on to get to where you are now. But like, that's a huge payoff to be like,
4 a.m. call times don't scare me. I'm just like, all right, get this coffee, we gone, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't scare me. Like I really enjoy what I do.
That's beautiful.
Something. And that was another thing that surprised me. Like I didn't, like that's how you can have one way of a plan, but God said something else. And I never knew that like I would be behind the scenes in a union at that as a costumer. Yeah. And it's just like, that's another thing under my belt. So I'm really proud of that.
Did you fall into costuming? Like, did you just, or are you just like, I need a job? Like, how was that?
I was like, okay, I want to start working on set. Like I want to get in behind the scenes. Can I say this though? Mm-hmm. Because you open doors. Can I say that or can't say that yet?
You can say it. You can say it. What I do, girl? No.
I don't know if I can say it. So I'm just like, you know, I wanted to like start getting on set. I wanted to work in the arts. Like I wanted to do something within that field. And so once I got on set and I started to see how it all comes together. And then I've always loved style. Like, don't get me wrong, always love style.
You can dress.
Yeah, but I'm not the one to be want to like style and design. Like, you know, other people. Like, if somebody come to me and be like, well, what do you think of this? Or put these looks together. That's all, you know, there.
Yeah.
So because I always loved style, and then once I got into the costume where I was like, oh yeah, I love to see these clothes come together. Like, I love to see the looks and how they create the character, because one thing when you watching something, you always like, oh, for example, Cookie Lyons off Empire. I love me some Taraji. I was always excited to see what she was gonna wear, because it's always gonna be a shocker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that also helps like create the character, so you kind of learn more about them through that as well, of what they're wearing.
Right.
So, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so good. I'm proud of you, girl.
Thank you. I'm glad you're proud of me. Thank you.
Yeah. And I guess like just pushing forward or moving forward, like where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself like continuing to grow? Like what are you open to and what opportunities type of things?
Yes, I'm definitely all about growth. You know, growth is good. And change is good, and it's needed where it's, you know, necessary. I definitely see myself getting back in front of the camera. I definitely see myself pitching my pilot, like I said, because that's something special to me. I definitely see myself continuing to evolve and flourish behind the camera as well. But I said going into 2023 of this year, I really want what God wants for me.
That's
and
big.
So whatever God sees fit for this journey, I'm open to it, because I want to just follow his way, because my way ain't the way.
And did you see yourself here? Like see yourself as young Trin? Did you see yourself where you are now, or did life look like what you thought it would look like?
As young Trin, I've always dreamed big. Like I remember when I was in elementary, I always tell this story, and I was in our library class. I think I had to be like in the 4th or 5th grade, and the teacher, she was Miss Hines. She was going around asking everybody like what they want to do with their lives, and some kids was like, I'm gonna be a firefighter, I'm gonna be a teacher, lawyer, everything. But when it got to me, I was like, I'm gonna be on TV. And I still can see her face at the desk. Like, she was shocked. She was like, you going, what, girl? I said, I'm going to be on TV. And so she was like, okay. So like I said, from that moment when I knew what I wanted to do, I never thought of like something else outside of acting. I never thought. I remember my grand uncle used to always say to me, God rest his soul, he's always say, well, what do you think about outside of it? I was like, I don't think about anything outside of it, because this is what I want to do with my life. And like I said, from that moment, I used to always think I was going to go to NYU. I literally thought I was going to go to NYU. But then I graduated at 17, and then like I don't know if my mom just thought New York may have been like a fast pace for me. And so like I never saw myself in LA. So yeah, as a young Trin, I never saw California. But as a young Trin, I always saw something big for myself.
Yeah.
With dreams coming true. So yeah.
Very similar to that. I think I know that I've known like since I was little, like I'm going to be in the industry. Like I know I'm working in Hollywood. As a kid, I knew I was working in Hollywood. As like a teenager in college, I was like, I'm going to New York. Yeah. Somehow I ended up here.
Yeah. And you know, the first time I went to New York, it was interesting because I think it was like, I was like 22. But by that time I was already living in LA. So when I went to New York, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so different. Because I was already like living in Los Angeles, so it was different for me.
You got spoiled by the sun.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay. So that's why I didn't come. You know what I mean? So it was just like, I'm thankful for Los Angeles. I am. This town will shape you and make you. You just got to be ready.
Speak on that a little bit. What does that mean?
You have to be ready, honey, okay? You got to keep yourself around the right people, because once you start getting around distractions, you know, Hollywood just not for everybody. You got to really be built strong. And when I say that, keep that foundation of a good support system around you, because those going to be the people that's going to encourage you. They're going to be there in the times you need them. They're going to uplift you. And I can say at this point in my life, like, I'm really thankful for the village that I have. Yeah. And it's amazing, because I know only God did that. I'm always going to talk about God.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's big to say, because I'm huge on people knowing what it takes. And I think for me, what I used to hear a lot was, you know, oh, you want to be an actress, you want to go to Hollywood, you're going to be a starving artist. It's going to be hard for a little bit. You know, like not everybody makes it. But that to me didn't register as real as it was until I got, like, when you got here and you're in it, you're like,
you in it, you
see it. Oh, this is what you meant. But nobody gave, it didn't have any true, it didn't feel consequential when people would say that to me. As
right.
So like, that's why I said, like, speak on it. What do you mean? Like, what does that look like? Because I want people to know, I don't want anybody to be scared about it, but
or discouraged,
or discouraged about it. Because if this is what you want to do, absolutely pursue it. But just like, I want to help equip people to be prepared for it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to really go into this journey, because like I went into this journey, like I said, not knowing anyone, no friends. So any friends that I was meeting, it was just like building up relationships, because I've had my same friends since like middle school.
Right.
So it was like new for me. So it's like trusting the process. Who do I trust? Learning people different ways, you know? And then I noticed living here, it's very rare that you meet somebody from Los Angeles. You know what I mean? And then when you do meet people, somebody is here to do something.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So it's just like, you really just got to really dive in, trust the process, and know that it's going to be okay. Know that it's going to work itself out. And you will be surprised of like a lot of things along the way. Because there have been moments when I'd be like, ooh, that's a surprise. You know what I mean? Like, especially like when I started off, like I would like 16 years ago, you couldn't have told me like, this is where I'm going to be at today. I saw it, but I didn't know how it was going to look like, what it was going to take to get me there.
Yeah.
Because like I had the same story as you when I moved to LA. Like people were telling me like all these things, like you're going to LA, it's expensive to buy milk. You know how much milk costs? And I'm like, okay, but I'm going, you know what I mean? And I've seen so much change in this city over time, but I stuck to it and I'm proud of myself for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Trin, one thing I like to do.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not testing you. It's not bad. You're like, what do you like to do, Twills? No, I actually like to do a little segment of takeaways. So like things that, you know, we've talked about. Naya, our producer over there, has taken some key things that you said, and we're going to share it with our people as the takeaways. So one thing that you said was costumers do more than just dressing people. Continuity, making sure outfit is set right, etc.
Yeah.
So for people who are interested in the costume world, even directors, I think it's important for everybody to know what other jobs do.
It is.
So yeah, to know that costuming is not just styling.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah. There are many different professions within the industry that you can pursue: lighting, sound, cinematography, etc. And a lot of times there are unions for these things if you're working on a union show.
Yes.
3, you can gain valuable experience and knowledge by working behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Especially, I think that's big for like, it could be transferable for anybody, but I would think like, especially somebody like an actor or a director, to know like working behind the scenes in certain capacities, like the process that takes to make this film.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are some good takeaways.
It's all you, girl. Work hard, be consistent, and love what you do.
You have to love what you do. Can you imagine a doctor? Like, he has to love what he does, because I don't want a surgeon coming in on me and you don't love what you do.
Yeah, and I think there are people who are actually miserable in their professions, but like you said, like, I'm not trying to go to a dentist who hates his job,
right? Like, you know, or they just don't want to change because they're so content. I've never been a person like that, and I owe that to my parents. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that, like, they opened like so many things up for me and my siblings growing up, and we got to travel, see the world, and you know what it meant to like mean to work hard for what you want. And if it's a better feeling when you do it yourself, right? And not having to depend on somebody,
right? Exactly.
So, that's why I'm like a go-getter. I want to do it myself.
Yeah. We have that in common.
Yeah.
This city and industry can be tough, so surround yourself with good people who support you.
You need that, because without that good support, you don't want to just be lonely, you know what I mean? Yeah. But at times, there are times like you just need somebody to just like be a voice for you and just like let you know, sis, it's okay. Like, you got this. I'm here for you. I'm in your corner.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm rooting for you. Like, that's how I feel like we need to like continue to embrace one another. Because I'm also that person, like, I'm going to lift you up. I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. I like to call myself the hype girl for my friends.
Trinity is the hype girl for, like, I feel so special around Trinity. Y'all don't understand. She'll be like, hey, Twilla girl, that's my girl. She be doing it.
Yes,
blah, blah. I'm like,
I am that hype girl because I really want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
And you all just don't know, like, when you all are, like, elevating, evolving, it's inspiring me. Like, it's really inspiring me. So I'm the hype girl. Hype girl trend for the friends.
Hype girl trend for the friends. So Trinity, if somebody wanted to like reach out or just follow you, like what's the best way? Like, do you have an IG or?
My Instagram is Trinity A Page, and that's Page, no I. And then I just got back on TikTok, so you can also follow me there, Trinity A Page, Page, no I. I'm starting to get back into TikTok because it's like the reels and stuff, like the excitement. So I was like, let me open this back up and start like, doing more of those. So,
Awesome. And same here, guys. If you want to reach out to me, Twilla Amin, or leave a comment below on our Lacktoast page. If you have questions for me, if you have questions for Trinity, we will get those answered.
Yes.
Any questions for the future that you might have or specific professions that you want to see, let me know. We'll get that going. Trinity, thank you for coming.
Thank you
to
for having
LTE
me.
Studios.
Copy that. I love it.
Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm Twilla Amin, and this is Trinity
A Page.
Trinity A Page.